Headed to Live Line, Secretary of State of Missouri, Denny Hoskins, making time for you today with his monthly update. Denny, how you doing?
Great. Good morning, Fawn.
Yeah, good to have you here. We just had municipal elections, and voter turnout is crappy.
It is. It's very low, unfortunately, and I mean, I heard from someone last night that they had, I think, a 7% voter turnout, maybe in Randolph County, which is about an hour north of Columbia, Missouri. Mm-hmm. And that's so unfortunate because these positions, whether city council or health board or school board, I mean, they really have the most impact locally out of any elections because these are the folks that actually are the closest to the people. They are, have jobs there in the community. They're in the community every day. And so it's very, very unfortunate that we don't have a higher turnout for municipal elections.
It is. And I mean, big things are decided, like city council seats, like school board seats, like whether or not passage of things that are going to happen in your city that are going to cost you tax money. These things are on the ballot. And sadly, if somebody is running, they tell all their friends they're running, so their friends all show up, and that person wins, and a better candidate might not have gotten the spot because other people just didn't go.
Exactly, and I know there's been a push to move those municipal elections either to August or a November election, and so I've had some folks reach out to me about information on that, and what that would actually require a legislative fix. A new state law would have to be passed in order to close that, I guess, April municipal local election and move that to an August or November ballot.
Well, and people always say, I forgot. I'm like, how do you forget when we say it every 5 minutes? We post it all over the place. Everybody's talking about it online, how they don't want this or don't want that, and then 7% show up. Give me a break. I saw some races for, like, in the Boot Heel in southeast Missouri where nobody voted. In small towns for like sheriff or whatever they get. Nobody voted. So what do you do then?
Yeah, well, I don't know.
You flip a
That's
coin?
a good question.
Yeah.
Yes, I guess you can flip a coin. That is one way to decide if a vote is tied, is to flip a coin. The other is to do a recount of that race where they go in and recount.
Nobody.
Yes, yeah. You would be recounting, I guess, 0 votes.
Yeah, wouldn't take long.
I've seen that. That's right. I've seen that before where you've actually, like, the candidates didn't vote. And you're like, okay. Well,
all you had to do is go vote for yourself. That's it.
Right. All you had to, or it was tied 1-1, and you say, well, didn't you get your spouse or your kids or your brother to come vote for you as well? I'm assuming that one vote was you, but you couldn't get anybody else to come vote for you.
Oh, it's just crazy. Anyway, it's Financial Literacy Month, which is hysterically funny because I actually got into an argument with one of my grandchildren last night because he can't pay his bills, but he said he was going out to eat. So I said, what are you doing? Comida en la casa. Eat, And he's like, well, you can't tell me what to do with my money. I said, you better not ask me for any more. Tell you that right now, hook, line, and sinker, I'm out. So it's just, we've got to teach these kids, bills come first.
Well, that's right. Bills come first. You want to make sure you got a roof over your head and you got food on the table and you got enough gas in your car to get to work. But yes, I agree with you. I've had some folks that like, I can't, I'm just living paycheck to paycheck. And I said, well, how many times did you eat out last week? Oh, I didn't eat out at all. I just Uber eated, and had people order from Uber, Taco Bell from Uber. That's right. They don't think that counts. And, Uber, if you order Uber Eats from Taco Bell and get one of those $5 boxes or whatever, but you have somebody actually bring it to you, have it delivered, like a delivery service. I mean, your $5 meal turns into a $15 meal, and then they wonder why they don't have money at the end of the month.
I'm dying over here. They don't.
Yes.
Now that's just stupid. I'm sorry. That's way past financial illiteracy. That's called dumb. That's AOC intelligence right there. All right, so you're a CPA yourself, so this must make you itch when people can't budget correctly.
It does, and like you said, it is Financial Literacy Month, and we have our securities division in the Secretary of State's office. Now, we are the main purpose of that is, hey, if someone's been defrauded on their investments, then they can actually contact us in the Securities Division of the Secretary of State's office, and we have investigators. We investigate, and then our Securities Commissioner, who is Michael O'Donnell, a former state rep who was a bond trader in his past life. He is kind of the judge, and so we literally have investigators that kind of operate like the cops. We have a prosecutor, director of securities enforcement, and then that actually prosecutes the case, and then the judge is our securities commissioner, and so we can help out if people have been wronged.
Yeah, so make sure you do reach out, because don't just sit there and stew in it and take the bait and then take the hook too.
That's right.
You can do something about it. Now, my grandson, who is in third grade, is actually being taught that debt is a bad thing. And I was like, let me buy your teacher lunch, but that would be going out to eat. Let me cook your teacher lunch, but because it is so important that they learn that now. That kid has more in savings than I do, because if he gets money for Christmas or something, I make him put half of it in savings and spend the other half, so that he understands he needs to save. Nobody did that for me, Denny. Nobody did that for me. So I grew up spending every penny I got. So when you get older and wiser and you tell kids these things, they don't want to listen because it's fun to spend money. It's burning a hole in their pocket.
That's right. It is a lot of fun to spend money, but you have to spend it responsibly. And that's the key. And make sure you put some back for savings and retirement.
That part is impossible, because everything's so expensive these days. When your percentages go up on your house and all of that stuff, it drains your savings account really, really fast, or an unexpected car repair. A lot of people are living nickel to nickel, and it's scary out there.
It is scary out there, most certainly. And what I've seen is, I call it a pay raise. When we've seen the price of gasoline go down, that's a pay raise. That's more money than keep in the pocket. When we've seen the price of food and groceries go down, then hey, that's more money in your pocket. And then hopefully interest rates go down. So some of us that bought new houses over the last couple of years, when interest rates have started to rise, they have started to go down now. I know President Trump has said, hey, he expects them to go down even more, especially over the next month or two. So I'm hopeful that I can refinance my mortgage on the house.
I'm going to do that so fast my head is going to spin. I even have my Alexa set up to alert me when it hits 4%, so I can refinance my house, because I didn't have a choice. I had to buy. I didn't have a choice. I had to, because I have animals. And so the rate at which we had to borrow was unbelievable. It was crazy. But anyway, you had your first board of directors meeting, because you're still dipping your toe in the water a little bit, aren't you?
Yes, we're still within our first 90 days of office. It's hard to believe. It seems like it's been 6 months, but we did have our first board of directors meeting. I've met with all the directors several times individually, but this is the first time we kind of came all together and shared ideas, and I shared kind of my vision with everyone. So it was a great meeting.
People think all you do is look at how people are going to word what they put on the ballot and then elections. It's way more than that.
It is a lot more than that. For example, we have Business Services Division. We've been working on reducing the wait time when people call in. And the business of services, so if you have a small business and you file a limited liability company or partnership, you file that with the Secretary of State's office. And so we've been trying to make that more user-friendly. We're working on a redo of the website to make it more easily accessible and easier to find things on the website. That's just one of the things we do. I mentioned securities already. We talked about elections and the local elections that just recently happened. We also have the state library, state archives, and administrative rules. So state library, some of the funding for our public libraries comes through the Secretary of State's office, and so we've been working on that. One of the big things that's come up with libraries is e-books, and making sure that kids don't have access to adult-themed books in libraries. And
I
so
hate
that's
that.
one of the things. I do too.
Just straight up perversion. So did you go on a trip that I'm supposed to ask you about? Did you go on a little trip?
Yes.
Where'd you go?
I did. I went to the White House actually a week ago.
What?
The White House called and said, yes, the White House called and said, hey, President Trump would like to invite you to Washington, D.C., President Trump's going to be signing some executive orders. And so I said, well, where do I sign up?
Exactly.
Count me in.
And the fact that you didn't call and take me along is making me pretty upset right now. DJT for me. All right. So
that's right.
Did you get to meet him?
I did not. Unfortunately, I did not get to meet him. I was in the same room, the East Room, when he signed the executive orders, and I did take the opportunity to meet with all our congressional folks, including yours down there, Congressman Jason Smith, who's done a great job. Yeah, so I talked to him about the reconciliation bill as well as the SAVE Act that the House and the U.S. House actually passed yesterday that would require proof of citizenship to vote in federal elections. I met with Congressman Onder. He's a new one from St. Charles, Missouri. Met with my good friend Congressman Burleson from Springfield. Met with my own congressman, Congressman Alford from Harrisonville, Missouri, and then U.S. Senator Schmidt. We also had the opportunity to actually go into part of the West Wing. Will Scharf, who had run as a Republican for Attorney General, and obviously Andrew Bailey beat him in the Attorney General's race, but Will Scharf is now the presidential secretary. So anytime that you see on TV when the president signs those executive orders and you see someone say, hey, Mr. President, here's the executive order on such and such, and give an explanation, that's Will Scharf.
Yay, and so good for him.
Yes. I had reached out to him, and so we actually had lunch in the West Wing of the White House and got to visit with him about some of the great things that he's been able to do and some of the things that President Trump's doing. So all in all, it was a great visit. Unfortunately, I did not get to meet President Trump. I was very hopeful, but there's still time.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I send him emails every day. He's probably going to block me and have me watched by Secret Service pretty soon because I won't leave him alone. But you also did something that I find equally as important, and you're meeting with the county clerks, who I think you should know all by name.
I would agree. That's my plan. I'd like to meet with all the county clerks actually in their county this year. So far, the legislature's still in session, I believe, until mid-May, and so I haven't been able to travel around as much as what I'd like. But after the legislature is done for the year, which, like I said, be mid-May, then I plan on visiting some more county clerks. And so we have got out and visited some county clerks already, and I look forward to getting to continue to meet more with them. I know they've got a conference coming up, I think, in Kansas City at the end of May, and then another one in maybe Liberty, Missouri, in Clay County in September. And so I've been attending those conferences and meeting with those folks as well.
And don't you find it, and we only have a minute left, but don't you find it how each county is so unique in what they need that you've got 100+ different people you have to talk to about what they need and how things are going? That's got to be a lot on your plate.
It is. And, President Trump issued an executive order regarding elections. And, so we've been working with, talking to some of the county clerks, talking to leadership, all the statewide. In fact, we actually issued a press release out of my office yesterday that had quotes from all the Republican statewide as well as House and Senate leadership talking about, hey, what we currently do already that's in the executive order, and we already do this. Some of the things that would require legislative fix, like proof of citizenship to register to vote, and then some of the things that I may be able to do by executive order. So a lot of different needs across the state, but we are all on the same track.
Everybody is working hard to make Missouri stays red and make sure that we stay with our heads screwed on straight so that we don't fall into the syndrome of thinking up is down and down is up, and we want to keep everybody on the same page, and you do that through elections, so people show up and vote.
That's right.
Denny Hoskins, Missouri Secretary of State, getting himself kind of acclimated to the job as the new Secretary of State. He had some big shoes to fill with Ashcroft. I think he'd do just fine, Denny. I'm pleased to have talked to you today, and if you do go back to Washington, tell the big guy I said hi.
I will. I appreciate that.
Denny, thank you.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Bye-bye.
Take care.